Hi, this is Pastor Mark, and I am in this video going to be talking a little bit about our re-entry into our buildings on the West Harford Cooperative Parish. Starting March 28th, and hopefully for the foreseeable future, our congregations will be returning to their buildings to be worshiping at their regular service times, as well as for special services, for example, during Holy Week or funerals and so on. We're very excited about this. However, we know that in order to do this safely and with consideration not only for the health of our own members, but of the wider community, we have to take several steps. I want to let you know some of the steps we are taking, and if you join us in person, we are hoping you will help us to take as part of this process. So first of all, we're going to be social distancing, providing at least 6 feet of space between everyone when we are seated in the sanctuaries, and 15 feet of space between preacher and the congregation. That 6 feet of distance is the CDC's current recommendation for adults for safe distancing. The 15 feet comes from a recommendation regarding people who are using a little more air, who are projecting their voices a little bit more, so that they can have a little bit extra space because of the force that they are using in order to speak. People who are preaching or singing, for example. We aren't going to be able to have congregational singing right now, but we are going to have some limited in-person singing from soloists at each of our congregations. We're going to be providing ample space for them and limited opportunities for them to be singing, which we hope will minimize the risks. We're also going to still be using videos that we have had our singers and musicians pre-record from time to time. And we're hoping this blend of pre-recorded music as well as in-person singing will help to balance the desire to have music live with our need to keep one another safe. So our first thing then is that we are keeping social distancing. And even when you're up and about, we really hope that if you are in our buildings, you'll keep at least 6 feet between you and other people. You'll refrain from touching, hugging, handshaking, things like that. And also that if you are at the end of the service, that you'll just be ready to leave pretty much when things are over, so that we can not have a lot of congregating inside the building. The second thing we are doing is that we are making sure there are what's called air changes, ample number of air changes in the building, so that we're getting fresh air on a regular basis several times during each worship service. In order to do this, we're going to have some fresh air coming in from a couple of sources, one of which will be either cracked or open windows or doors that will let air in. Of course, this will mean sometimes things might be a little cooler in certain parts of the church or a little warmer as the weather changes, but we're going to have to go ahead and do that. We'll also have the fans on in the ceiling fans as well as in the HVAC system to draw that air in and move it around the room so that the fresh air, not just stale air, is moving in the room. And we have in each sanctuary an air filter with a fan attached to it that will be moving and also filtering some of the particles that are in the air out, so that the air is in movement and getting some cleaning as well. This does mean that sometimes things may be a little noisier than we're used to in a service, although hopefully the fans will become white noise in the background. But if you hear the fans running, that's why. It's so that we can continue having air changes, which we want to have a number of during each worship service. And it's hard to change air in large spaces like our sanctuaries. We also are going to ask then, in addition to social distancing and using air changes, that everyone who come to services, especially everyone who's 4 years and older, be wearing a mask. Masking has been shown to be a great way to prevent the spread of disease and also to perhaps make ourselves safe from one another too from the disease. So at the very least, having a mask over your face and your nose at all times is important. If you can have either a double mask or one of the KN95 masks or maybe A mask with 3 layers in it, those are considered to be the best masks for what we need in this pandemic. And I want to encourage you to have those and wear them if you can. We will have masks at all 3 churches, the basic paper medical mask. If you can't remember, don't have one with you, we'll make sure that you have a mask. But please wear a mask at all times when you are in the building around other people. Even if you've been vaccinated, at least for now, the evidence is inconclusive as to whether being vaccinated keeps you from spreading the disease. Hopefully it will keep you from getting the disease. And we're very glad that you are vaccinated if you've had that opportunity. But studies are still trying to determine whether you could carry the disease and spread it to others even if you aren't getting sick. So plan to wear a mask, and also plan to use hand sanitizer. When you come in, we ask that you use hand sanitizer. During the service, you may need to use it once or twice just to make sure that you, in case you've touched your mask or shaken hands with someone because you forgot or whatever. And you may want to use it on your way out or before you get in the car as well. So, safe social distancing, plenty of air changes, and masks and hand sanitizer. We're asking everyone to help us in keeping ourselves and our community safe through these basic measures if you join us in person. And if for some reason you are still uncomfortable with the idea of joining in person, we completely understand. Our services will continue to be available by Zoom for each of our services. And you can sign up through westharfordcoop.org. You can look for our email address on this website, westharfordumc@gmail.com, if you want to be added to the distribution list for those who are receiving emails with the Zoom link. I look forward to seeing you in person, and I continue to pray with you for a time when we may not need these COVID restrictions.